Again, welcome everybody. We're going to get on. We're going to start the call in about one more minute. One more minute. All right, 30 more seconds. Welcome everybody. All right, welcome everyone. Hope you can see me and hear me okay. Again, Todd Keel here. Let's go ahead and start the training. Just a couple of housekeeping items as we get rolling here. I just know that what you're about to watch is amazing, amazing content. And I have my business partner. I'm going to introduce her here in a second. So tag teaming this again tonight. We had a great call last week on social media. How many of you were on that call? You guys liked that call last week? Social media training. Hopefully you've taken action on that since. So again, if you're just joining us, welcome. All right, thanks, Mary. Welcome. Yeah, so every Monday we want to bless you. We want to help you achieve great success in the business with the T Group. We want to help you achieve great success in your personal life, your professional life. And I just know for me, this topic tonight is something that I've had to learn myself. So you might see myself tonight, you might see Sarah tonight, you might say, oh, of course, I can get this a lot. And I don't know why people do this, but they're like, oh yeah, well, you're Todd Cagle, so you already know, or you're already rich. So, I get that a lot. So you have to be careful because we all have a past. And I'm not talking about a negative past, but we all have a past of we had to start somewhere. Does that make sense? So it's not like I always knew how to do Zoom. I can publicly speak phenomenal since day one. I came out of my mother's womb and I was a leader. I was beyond driven. So, we all start shy. We all start, I thought I would never in a million years be a salesperson. Never in a million years. So we all start somewhere, right? And certain things affect our life, maybe positive or negatively. And we're going to kind of hone in on that. So why do people take action and they take massive action when some people don't take any action? But sometimes these are the people that need to take the most action. Does that make sense? So again, we're going to hit on that. And again, before we start, I just want to introduce our business partner and co-host, Sarah Doty. She is very successful. So you're not just hearing from an affiliate. You're not just hearing from somebody that is just, hey, she's cool, so we're just going to get her on the call tonight. She's someone that actually did not only the slides, but she does so much in her first of all, her job. So her job is 8 hours a day working at Salesforce, leading hundreds of other people, hiring, firing, mentoring, coaching. One of the most successful executives out there with the #3 company on planet Earth in the tech world. But several months ago, I brought her on board to help us in our VACE coaching program and, of course, our TE Group opportunity. So as an affiliate, hopefully you'll be blessed, obviously, with her presence. Hopefully I can add value to you tonight as well. And let's get into it. So, Sarah, I know you're on. I'll kind of hit on the first here, and then we'll just kind of go back and forth. So, again, thanks so much for being on. So, we want to talk tonight about the psychology of taking action, the decision-making process. So how many of you, if you're honest, and I think 100% of us can probably raise our hands for this, how many of you think, like, I could do a better job taking action? Would you guys agree with that? I don't know if there's an emoji on Zoom. Usually I'm not watching the Zooms, I'm doing the Zoom. So would you agree that you could take more action in your life? Okay, Samantha says yes. Okay, good. Who else? Yes. Okay, cool. Now, let me ask you some honest questions here, though, because I don't want to just motivate you. I really want to have some dialogue. How many of you, honestly, and thank you so much for your vulnerability and honesty, because again, safe community here. No one's going to judge you. No one's going to prejudge, nothing. So please feel safe. I love the action. Thank you. How many of you don't know what to take action on sometimes? You're like, maybe you feel like you are motivated, but you don't know where, like what to do. And you're just like, again, juggling some ball. Okay. And maybe some of you are like, and you don't have to answer this because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but maybe you're just not very successful right now financially. Maybe you're in a place of a poverty mindset and you don't want to have a poverty mindset, but you're trying to spin so many wheels. You got a full-time job. You have a side hustle on eBay. You have a side hustle on MLM. You're also trying to book calls at the T Group, right? And then you're just like, there's too many opportunities. and you just want to have massive success. And you're at a place now where you're stop believing in yourself, okay? And how many of you have struggled with this? Confidence, self-confidence. How many of you struggle with self-confidence? Okay. Okay, so let me just talk about that real quick, because when you're in fight or flight response, again, taking action often triggers our brain fight or flight response. Some people react by moving forward and taking action, while others repeat inaction. So let's just talk about the detriments of not taking action and still being in fight or flight. So what is fight or flight? Fight or flight is when you wake up in the morning and you see this horrible device. It's called the iPhone. It's a horrible thing. It can be your worst enemy or your greatest, best friend, because you can make a ton of money on this. But being your worst enemy, it's on your thing on your bed, whether you're married or single. The first thing that you wake up, you're checking your messages, right? And what happens is, if you're not meditating, if you're not using this for meditations like I do, if you're looking at, and I believe me, I've been guilty of it too, but fight or flight is from the moment you wake up, you don't have a plan, you didn't plan your day before the day starts, you're not in meditation at least 10 minutes. I have a whole morning ritual. And again, you don't have to have a crazy morning routine either. You can be greatly successful without doing cold plunges, without doing sauna, without doing the whole shebang. I mean, I'm not saying you have to spend hours in your morning routine, but I truly believe that if you want to get out of fight or flight, get more clarity in the morning, and feel like you just did a cold plunge and just went to the sauna, meditating for 10 minutes and just visualizing your day, not being in fight or flight. Because fight or flight is so bad for cortisol levels, and it's also going to create inaction, and more inaction breeds more inaction. Now, the opposite of that is having a plan, is actually having progress. Now, let me share the definition of happiness. So how many of you want to be happy? Of course we all do, right? Happiness. I want to just be happy. I want to be joyful. Do you know, and of course we could get in the psychology of this, but showing the data, showing the statistics. If you really want to be happy, all it is progress. Write that down in your notes. If you want to be happy, your life has to just look like this. It doesn't have to look like that, like a roller coaster, like way up. It just has to be a little bit slight to the right. What is this? This is progress. So as long as every day you're making genuine progress in the vision that you created for yourself, in that 5-year vision, that yearly vision, this right here is going to make you happy. It's also, it has all these benefits, right? Just like if a fruit or a vegetable or an antioxidant, like has all the antioxidants and all these benefits for your body, or whatever a health food is. So having the right action, getting clarity, but even if you move slightly, just a little bit slight, you're going to feel more happier. You're going to feel more joyful. You're going to also build self-confidence. So the self-confidence keeps building and keeps building and keeps building. So then you become more skillful. And Malcolm Gladwell talked about in his book, the 10,000 hour, philosophy. If you do something over and over and over and over again, the right way, like hitting a golf ball the right way, like shooting a basketball the right way, if you do it 10,000 hours, you become an expert. So think about, even in sales, in leadership, in influence, if you're doing something every day for an hour a day, just do the math. When is it 10,000 hours? Well, it's going to take a while, like 5 years or even 10 years. Now, some of you already have all that. So now all of your past, we need to bring into a place where you can leverage the past, all the good stuff you have done, and get into a great place of confidence in your comfort zone versus growth zone. So the comfort zone is holding people back for sure. Let me just kind of move up. Yeah. Okay. And let me see. Okay. I can't even read the other part because I see the Zoom link, but anyway, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm trying to move that. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to move that. But anyway, comfort zone versus growth zone. So we've all heard that there is no money in your comfort zone. We all heard that, and it is true. But what's interesting about your comfort zone is the more uncomfortable you get. So again, this is uncomfortable. This is comfortable. So, in the Growth Mindset book by Carol Dweck, which is one of the best-selling books out there, I think it's like millions of copies sold. I have it somewhere here. But she talks about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So having a fixed mindset, which could be a poverty mindset, could be entitlement mindset, that's not going to serve you in this business. If you want to book calls, make residual income, crush your life, also be healthier, be happier, you've got to grow your mindset, right? You have to be open to possibilities. I see this all the time in my coaching, and I've coached for 24 years. And it's not just base. It's been years and years of me coaching network marketing, being a top leader there, launching my own coaching business in 2016. The clients that I work with, that I coach, that are the best, are totally open to new possibilities. Let me repeat that. The people that I work with that have the best success are the ones that are open to new possibilities about what's possible for themselves. Does that make sense? So it's like they see themselves in a different way. It's almost like they see their better self. They can visualize who they're going to be 5 years from now, and they can literally see it. But the fixed mindset person says, I can't do that. I've never been successful. Nobody loves me. I'm unlovable, or no one ever is going to follow me. Now, they're not saying that out loud, so to speak, but they're saying it to themselves. That's why sometimes it feels corny when you have affirmations like I'm a leader. I'm blah, blah, blah. You're saying these affirmations. And that's why through a combination of meditation, getting out of the fight or flight in the morning, your brain and body responds better to the meditation in the morning and the affirmations. And of course, if you're a person of faith, your faith is going to allow you to have belief in more of yourself. That's why I strongly suggest, like, looking even at this as a spiritual side. So you taking action is actually spiritual. Even in the Bible says faith without works is dead. So you don't want to be dead, do you? And I'm not talking about literally, but I'm talking about figuratively. You don't want to be dead in the opportunity. When you have something so good, you don't want to be the person that doesn't produce, doesn't see the fruit of your action. So it's a decision. So in a nutshell, on this first slide, then I'm going to pass it to Sarah for the next slide. She can do the whole thing. And we'll kind of go back and forth on each slide. But even in the Bible, it's like, you can see the fruit of your labor. So you're harvesting, you're sowing and reaping, you're harvesting eventually, but you got to plant those seeds. And every day that's this. And this right here is not celebrity. This right here is not the movie. This right here is not winning the boxing ring. This right here is being a leader in the dark. All kind of growing like this, slow and slow and slow. It's not sexy. So it's easy for you to choose to do this because no one's going to know. Do you see how it's a slight edge here? It's a slight edge decision to make that call or to not make that call. That is the question. Like William Shakespeare said, right? To be or not to be. That is the question. It's to grow or not to grow. And it's the simple slight edge compound effect that happens through the simple little disciplines compounded over time. But here's what I just want you guys to know. The act of taking action doesn't seem to be massive in the act of it. So for me, picking up one phone call or making one phone call, it's not like, oh my God, I did it, guys. I made a phone call. Party in the USA. Let's take a week off. I made a phone call. Wow, everyone praised me. Oh my God, I'm doing it. That's literally doing a push-up, right? Can you imagine going to the gym, getting in your car, driving 30 minutes to your local gym, saying hi to everyone, checking in, drinking your protein shake, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, watch this, guys, and then go down and do one push-up. And then you're like, okay, bye, everybody. See you next time. You would be the weirdest person at the gym, okay? And you would need help psychologically. Does that make sense? That's what sometimes people think work is when they're an entrepreneur. But if you really treat this like a business and you really don't praise yourself too much for just doing one little thing, but at the same time feeling good about that one little thing, and then do another little thing, and then another little thing, and then that's going to give you the confidence that you need to keep going. So with that said, I'm going to have Sarah take over on the next slide.
All right. So just continuing on the psychology of taking action, and you touched on this a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit about motivation versus discipline. So there's two types of motivation. There's intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic is like the internal drive to just get stuff done. And then extrinsic is the reward system in your environment that gives you rewards because you did things. So intrinsic motivation is like, it's your passion, it's your personal satisfaction, it's what sustains you internally, right? So it fuels us within and keeps us going, even if we don't have external rewards. So that would be like, I made 50 phone calls today, but I didn't book a meeting, but I'm still moving forward because I have the internal motivation because I want to make residual income. So extrinsic motivation is more like the praise, the financial incentives. It plays a role, obviously, rewards play a role, but it's actually less consistent. So they're both important. You obviously need rewards in motivating yourself, but extrinsic or the reward system actually is just like kind of a short-term push. And that's where discipline comes in. So the The role of discipline is really what keeps you motivated. So I can't even tell you guys how many times I don't want to go to the gym. Actually, I never want to go to the gym. It's not like a discipline that I like actually really like love. I kind of wake up in the morning and I want to chill and read my Bible and listen to music, and then I want to work. But I go to the gym because I know that it's going to provide me longevity, and I just do it. And of course, there's a reward system. You feel good afterwards. You look better, of course, but it's actually the discipline every day that makes me just go do it. So discipline is what keeps you moving when the motivation fades. And that's what's really important. So it's important. It's really easy to take action if you're getting constant rewards and you have constant external motivation. But where discipline steps in is when you're building habits that don't rely on how you feel, right? It's like you're doing it anyways, even if you don't feel like doing it. And that's where just creating discipline routine comes in. It really turns into a habit. So a couple other things, there's a few reasons why people don't get really disciplined. And honestly, it kind of goes back to the fight or flight, but it's sort of a fear of failure. Like
Yeah.
I know a lot of times it can be, I'll give you guys an example. I'll go back to my gym example. There was a point when I was doing HIIT training every day for a year and I wasn't seeing a lot of change in my body. And it was really frustrating. And I started to have kind of this fear of failure, and it made me not want to go to the gym for a while. Like I was mad at my body. I was mad at the gym. I was mad at the trainers, and it kind of paralyzed you from moving forward. So let's talk about this opportunity. If you're not seeing instant results and you start to become afraid that this isn't going to work, it can kind of paralyze your action, right? Like, why should I do the KPIs? I'm not seeing any action. I'm not seeing any fruit. When discipline comes in, it just takes time. And then the other symptom of just not being disciplined is just simply procrastination. I think we all procrastinate. We have a to-do list. How many of the things on your to-do list start as what you're going to do today, and then they move to tomorrow, and then like 5 of them move to Wednesday, and then a few of them move to Thursday, and then you just keep procrastinating? Discipline would be, I have a list of 10 things that I'm sitting down and I'm doing them until they're done, and I'm moving other things off my plate and delegating so that I can get the most important actions done. So motivation's great. We all need it. That's why we're here. We're trying to motivate you. But if you really want to be successful, if you really want to take action, you actually just need to have discipline. And that's what will sustain you. So kind of in cultivating that intrinsic internal motivation strategy will help you build that discipline over time. And it's not about being motivated all the time. It's just about showing up and doing the work. It's just literally take a step forward, take a step forward. And if you have a fear or a resistance, address that fear, challenge that fear so it doesn't paralyze you. Explore how procrastination is the symptom of deeper fears or resistance, because that's what happens, right? We kind of, I don't feel like doing it, so you don't do it. So with that, I can pass it back to you, Todd, if you want to talk about self-awareness in that.
Well, I just want to hit on discipline.
Okay.
And I think with me, if there's anything I can, and I don't want to like brag, and I'm not here to do that, but I think, and I say this a lot, if you were to follow me around for the day and we're just like, I want to, from like 12 p.m. Eastern, and saying, I know this for a fact with Sarah too, because I've seen her in action. And if you have seen me in action, you'd probably be like, okay, I get it now. And my question to you about discipline is like, if we were to see you in action, here's a great question, right? If we were to watch you, like me and Sarah to watch you, like I'm not talking about anything weird. I'm just saying just business, watching you at your house. Would we be proud of you? Would you be proud of yourself? Would you be like, wow, I really did. I had a great day today. And I just want you to think about that, because I do visualize that cameras are kind of watching me, and I'm supposed to lead by example because I'm preaching. I mean, the worst thing is someone who preaches and is not doing what he or she says behind closed doors. That is scary to me. So I know that Sarah's working hard. I'm working hard. I'm working 12 to 8, sometimes 12 to 9, like Monday through Friday, sometimes even the weekends. So because I see the opportunity that's so big, but it's not just business, it's also the workouts. Like Sarah said, are you working out? Are you eating right? When no one's watching, are you eating a bag of chips or a bag of fruit? So it's these simple slight edge disciplines compounded over time. You don't get obese going to McDonald's once. You get obese eating McDonald's every single day for like 30 days or more, right? So it's the bad things you're doing that you're not stopping or changing. And we want you to evaluate that today. So again, what can you get rid of? Well, just one thing after tonight's call, not tons of things. what's one thing that you could say, I'm done with those kind of chips or those kind of soda? Like maybe you drink a lot of Coke, maybe you drink a lot of soda or even Diet Coke. What I did is I switched to Topo Chico. So, okay, that's it, or soda water. So I used to drink a lot of Diet Coke back in the day, not recently, but I'm like, I want to just switch that to Topo Chico. Now it's better than Diet Coke. So just these simple little disciplines. You don't have to like quit cold turkey, but you can just start there, because what's the saying? How you do one thing is how you do everything. Now, I don't 100% believe that, but I love the concept though. It's like how I do one thing could be how I do something else, and it's all connected. So that's really what discipline is, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I'll just say one more thing on that. I think that it can be really intimidating sometimes to look at someone with a highly disciplined life and think, how hard is it to get there? But once you introduce something into your routine and you do it for a little while and you just do it every day, it kind of just becomes a part of you and a part of your DNA. And then you start to stack habits. So I always call it habit stacking. And I pick a new thing every month to add to my habit stack. And eventually you're just doing all these disciplines that are really healthy. It's not like I started right away with this amazing routine where I meditate and I read my Bible and I eat healthy and I work out and I work really hard and I like these things took years for me to kind of habit stack. And I kind of look across my life sometimes and I say like, there was a month this year that one of the habits I wanted to do is just like get rid of stuff in my house. I had too much stuff. I felt weird about how much stuff I had. And so every day I got rid of a trash bag and I was like, I'm just do it every day for 30 days. And now I'm living a much simpler life. I don't shop as much. I don't need things as much because that was a habit stack for me. So introducing habit stacking to your discipline is really important, because if you just do something for 60 days, it's kind of, okay, now it's who I am. I can add something else to my plate. Do that for 60 days.
Absolutely. And that builds your confidence for sure. All right. So we got the next slide here. Are you guys getting some from this? Hopefully you guys are definitely loving it so far. All right. So this is triggers, right? So self-awareness, the key to taking consistent action, understanding personal triggers. So we can definitely tag into Sarah. We don't have to go slide for slide, but identifying triggers. Fear of failure can paralyze action, and how reframing failure as a learning opportunity can reduce this fear. Okay, so let me talk about that. So let me get spiritual on you. God, okay, listen to me when I tell you this. God wants you to fail. Do you guys get that? God wants you to fail. It is part of living a good and ethical life. Now, I'm not saying make failure your best friend. Don't make failure like, oh, I'm the best at failure. I'm not saying that. But there's no way that you can learn if you constantly are winning. Does that make sense? The winning becomes so much more awesome because of the failure that you had to go through. Now, let me talk about failure. In my opinion, what failure is. Failure, to be a failure in life means you completely quit. And that could mean anything. It's like, I love what Sarah just said, and I can relate to that. It was such a good metaphor. It's like she did the gym, she did this HIIT training, and she didn't see a lot of results, maybe quicker than she thought. I used to be a personal trainer too. And maybe even with women, you get into a personal training, you start getting like more muscle, then you go to the scale. And this obviously is more important in women than men, I think. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm 5 pounds over. Oh my God, I quit. And I see this all the time, even as a personal trainer, like women actually look better, but they weigh more because they're having more muscle. But you're just looking at that result as a failure, but it actually is not. It's actually part of your journey and successfully getting healthier. So my whole point of that is like, you would be a failure if you just quit working out for the rest of your life. Does that make sense? So if you're like, forget it, I don't see a result, I'm done forever. That's a failure. But failing forward, John Maxwell wrote a great book about this 25 years ago. It's called Failing Forward. It's this concept where you're actually successful by failing forward. So when you fail, here's an idea for you. Don't try to get up a lot. And, I know Sylvester Stallone, he's like, hey, you fall down, you got to get right back up. You got to keep fighting, That's actually not true. Maybe in boxing it is, but in life, that's actually a dumb concept. Because what that means is you're kind of a moron. Okay, so let me explain. So if you keep failing, you just get right back up, you're going to keep failing. When you fail, stay down. Clean up a little bit. Like, have some self-awareness. Like, why did this happen? Before I get up and fight again, let me just kind of think about, let's have some self-awareness here. Does that make sense, everybody? And then once you figure out different strategies and actually get more resolve and you become more relentless, because of course you're not going to quit, but you're going to figure out why and just change the strategy. So actually, that actually is a reframing of the brain of failure, because you're like, wait a minute, I'm learning. I like to learn. So failure is I welcome failure. Does that make sense to everybody? So it's almost like you have to welcome it. So when someone rejects you, that's great. Maybe you did come off weird. Maybe they did reject you because you were so not confident. Maybe you were stumbling over your words. So let's reframe that. Don't think, oh, I can't do this because I'm just going to get rejected. Well, maybe you're not a pro yet, because there's a thing going from amateur to professional. And it takes, like Sarah said, it takes sometimes years. And it's true. Like, you can't just be a public speaker your first time wanting to publicly speak. You're probably going to suck, right? Or you're going to not be very good. Just like if I said, okay, whoever, hey, Samantha, I know she's commenting, hey, Samantha, you're going to run the next Zoom. So next Monday, Samantha Combs is going to do the Zoom. Now, I'm sure she could do it, but I think Samantha is not going to be the greatest she could be 5 years from now. Does that make sense? So it has to, you have to just meet yourself. But anyway, does that make sense to everybody? So Sarah, if you want to kind of add to that or manage triggers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just think that we are such emotional creatures, and especially when it comes to business, because there's so much stake and heart in the game when it comes to your legacy and when it comes to your business. And there's a lot of competition, looking at other people, feeling like you're not doing enough. And it really does. It can really paralyze us sometimes from taking action. And I'll tell you what I tell my team at Salesforce all the time. And while I do think self-awareness is very, very key, I think you have to sort of throw baloney at a wall, see what sticks. If something sticks, you sort of lean into it. If something falls, if the baloney falls off the wall, you have enough self-awareness to leave it behind and not do that thing anymore. But you're paralyzed by your triggers, by the things that you don't think you can do something, or you're afraid, then you're not going to do anything at all, and you're never going to win. It really does take trying, failing, falling down, looking at it, reframing your strategy, trying something new, and not being afraid of it. Because at the end of the day, what are you really afraid of? And so I think it's really important for everyone to just think through, what are your triggers? Now, in this particular opportunity, I will tell you, calling people and reaching out to people that you know and you don't know to share a business opportunity is not for the faint of heart. It is not, because it is an industry where there's high levels of rejection. You don't know what people are going to say. You're learning the talk track. You're sort of just booking meetings, so you're not necessarily the expert. And so that can cause a lot of fear, I've done cold calling. I've had to call, back in my early days of my career, I was calling the biggest companies in the world trying to get their CEOs on the phone. And I will tell you guys, I got told horrible things by people. I had a wall in my office we called the wall of shame, of things people said back to me and my team. But we didn't stop. We made a joke out of it. It was, go kick rocks. Okay, that's funny. Let's print it out, put it on the wall, because we would just keep going. But it is not for the faint of heart. And if you allow the rejection, if you allow the fear, and if you allow stagnation, oh, it's not happening for me yet, to paralyze you, you're never going to get there. So I would say, kind of take this slide in and think of, what are the things, or the triggers that are happening to me during the day that are preventing me from doing the action to be successful in this, and really just challenge them, right?
Yeah. And I just want to piggyback on one thing you said, the rewards though. So yes, it's not for the faint of heart, but the rewards, because it's not of the faint of heart, you're going to get so much more rewards than someone that has just a job, or even just a sales job, because you're always going to be limited in income. So for instance, let's say, and I just want to paint a picture for everyone. Let's say, and hopefully this doesn't happen, but let's just say this happens. So it's August 12th today. So let's say from August 12th to August 1st of 2025, you did everything you're supposed to do. KPIs, reaching out to 20, 30 businesses a day, 5 days a week. You're reading your 10 pages of book of a day. You're going to see the KPIs at the end. But let's just say you do everything, you're so ethical, you do everything that you say you're going to do. And let's say you close 0 people, 11 months in, but you say, I'm going to be here a year from now. Well, let's say in August, or let's just say by August of next year, you had an account that was 10,000 employees and that account closed, how much money would you make, everybody? What's the number on that? $50,000 a month. You would be making $50,000 a month for months and years to come. Now, what's $50,000 a month? That's $600,000 a year. You would be in the top 0.5%, not even 1%, the 0.5% of all income earners on planet Earth. You would go from maybe poor, broke, whatever, to like rich. Does that make sense? And that's what you have to understand. Now, I think through our mentorship and these calls and the T group and everything that we have to offer you, I think obviously you could do that before a year is up. But it takes people their whole lifetime. And many people, I mean, millions upon hundreds of millions of people on this planet will never, billions of people will never even make $10,000 a month. So that's the reward here. And it's better than real estate. It's better than Airbnbs. It's better than real estate investing, because all of these things do not have monthly residual income for months and years to come. So again, always think of that when you have a bad day. And then the moment you think about it and you look at your dream board and your 5-year vision, like, oh, screw that, I'm back. Does that make sense? So I just want to share the massive rewards here. All right, next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, the thing that is so powerful about this community is that you don't have to do it alone. And so I do think that we're not trying to say that it's easy to just wake up and take massive action every day. I mean, I struggle with it every day. I would rather be on a beach than taking massive action every day and working. Honestly, I work 12, 15-hour days on the regular. Like, it is my reward at the end of the night is I take a bath, and I usually work in the bath. I'm not even kidding. I have like a little board and I still work in the bath. I work all the time, but it doesn't come easily. I need support. I have coaches. I have people who speak into me. So I just want to just kind of like speak into the power and the role of accountability partners and community. We are all here together doing so much of the same things. I have coached many of you one-on-one. Todd has certainly talked to most, if not all of you. A lot of the things that everyone is experiencing are so similar. The pains, the rewards, the challenges, the wins. And so I just think I want to highlight just the importance of having this community, that we should be tapping into each other. You should be tapping into us, tapping into the TE group, that while we're preaching this action message, like, you don't have to do the action alone, because we're all doing the same things every day. And there's so much cross-pollination that we can do, right? Like social media posts, scripts, what did this guy say to you? How would you react to that? How would you respond to that? So there's a massively supportive environment here that's growing by the day, that I just want you guys to understand that you can take an absolute advantage of, because we are here to support you, hold you accountable, give you resources, give you social media posts, talk life into you, give you KPIs. Like, this isn't like just go off and do it on your own, which is really exciting, because I personally, I need accountability. I need community. I need support in my life as well. So we want to talk just like a little bit about our VIP coaching program. And so Todd, I'll let you just share a little bit about how that can help you get more support and accountability.
Yeah, and I'll just hit on this for just a few seconds. If you guys are interested, obviously, in taking this to the next level, let me just cast the vision. So within the next couple of months, here's what's going to happen just with the T group and the opportunity. And this is why, I originally started this program in March, because we want to be able to support the affiliate at a higher level. But I just want to say, like, it's okay. Like, you can come in for free, you can do your thing, you can lean on us as much as possible. But if you really do want to achieve that all-star level, it's like the Yankees. It's like you could be a part of the Yankees, or you can also be part of the AAA team. Now, AAA team is in Alabama or whatever, or even Tampa. We have the Yankee Stadium here down the road from me. But it's like, if you really want to be a Yankee, we do have that opportunity too. Now, I also want to share the vision of the T group. So now, you don't have to do all 5 of these, but we are launching very heavily starting on August 15th, was just in a couple of days, 5 different cash flow opportunities. And I'll hit on that real quick. So the first one is going to be our PCMP program, which is the monthly residual for you that you guys know about. You have 19 health benefits, in the health insurance field. And then you have the $700 on average per employee. We all know about that program, right? Now, that program is, I think, the long-term vision. We've had closed people in this program. This month, people are making residual income, okay, which is like one of the first months that their payouts are from some people that close deals by March and April. So that's very exciting. And it's just only going to get better and better. Now, the second program has nothing to do with FICA. It's going to be the R&D program, the research and development program. Then we have cost segregation and fixed assets, which is going to be business for business owners that have real estate. And then the fifth one, and I see this on TV all the time if I'm in like waiting area or when I go in my lobby and the TV's there. I just saw an Ozempic commercial. It's all over the place. So it's like legal cocaine. I mean, it's like being, it's not illegal, but like everyone wants it. And we have a GLP-1 program. And the cool thing is all 5 of these programs, all your job is, and all my job is to simply introduce the right people. So like, let's just say you're all in, right? You're like, man, I can see the vision of my life. So I would compartment. So me and Sarah would guide you and coach you, but we would break up the compartmentalization. Who do you know in the pharmaceutical industry? Who do you know that's a business owner that has 20 more W-2s? Number 3, who do you know that's a massive business? So who can we go to, like CEOs of like 50,000, 100,000 employees? Because we would actually first promote the R&D program to that company and not the PCMP program, because that would be the segue of trust that they would easily say yes to once they see that they can lower their insurance premium every month by a substantial amount based on 1981 legislation. And your commission on that is not only yearly income, not monthly, but yearly residual, but you're going to make half that. So if your commission is 20 grand or 30 grand, half of that money you get right away. Does that make sense? You'd have to do a separate agreement with the T Group. You'd have 5 different agreements in a sense. So you have 5 different cash flows. Now, what does Robert Kiyosaki talk about? What did like Millionaire Next Door talk about? Tim Ferriss, the 4-hour work week. It's different cash flows. And yes, you want to be good at one of them, but one of them. So if you just master the one thing of like, I'm going to book business owners, well, the T Group can actually sell them the other programs without your help. So let's say you book a PCMP program, and for whatever it's not a good fit, they can actually sell them the R&D program without you. And then you make a yearly commission and upfront money, and you don't have to worry about it. So I just want to make sure that you are aware, and it's not something I just want to continue to promote here, but it's a phone call. It's just like reaching out to me. Let's talk, you, me, Sarah, whatever we need to do. We just signed up 2 people today, which I'm very excited about. It's just like, if you do want to go to the next level, we have that program for you. And then we can also do as much as we can do as an affiliate. Now, you might say, well, I signed up for free. I don't want to invest. I'm broke. I have no money. Okay. I get that. But any business does take money because you need mentorship, a lot of it. It's not necessary. You can still do the T Group no matter what. It's nothing to do with that. But what we found, and Sarah, you can also hit on this a little bit if you want to, but what we found is people need help with their routine, their you versus you battles, their calendar, everything I wrote about in my book. I mean, I have 24 years of experience of working for myself, never had a job. I've worked with some of the biggest names on planet Earth. I know what it takes to be successful on your own, but it's very difficult. I got to tell you, it's almost impossible for someone that's never been an entrepreneur to ever be successful as an entrepreneur. And I'm not just saying that. Look at the statistics. If you start your own business, 95% of people that start their own business in America fail within the first 5 years. And then if they make it another 5 years, 90% of those people fail within their first 10 years. It is not easy to be a CEO. It is not easy to be an entrepreneur. Even if you're just an intrapreneur like we are, we're actually intrapreneurs. We're promoting another company. We didn't start the T Group. We're just referral providers. But it really helps you to get to that Yankee level, even that millionaire status, okay? And just also, it takes time. So it does take time. It's not an overnight thing. It's not a get-rich-quick thing. So that's why we created a VIP achievement system experience. But at the same time, if you are that affiliate, there's only so much we can do, but we will do the best job that we can do. So it just gives you those 2 options.
Cool. We'll post this at the end. Yeah, we'll come back. So it's at the end.
Yep, and then you can just supply. Post that. Okay. So I'll say something real quick, and then I'll pass it back over to you, Sarah, if you don't mind. Let me just hit on no excuses, no delays. So I know all of us have been told our whole life, no excuses, excuses be gone. I think I literally have a book. Look at it. Yeah, right here. Great book, by the way. I recommend it. The great Brian Tracy. Okay. It says, No Excuses, The Power of Self-Discipline, right? I got this many, many years ago, $7 at Barnes and Noble, right? So there's books that are read about. Every single book here that you're seeing is all about having no excuses. You can have the David Goggins, like, no, mother Evans, excuse me, like he can do that. I mean, Tony Robbins. I mean, you guys have to understand that there cannot be excuses. But here's the deal about that. What are excuses? Excuses are delayed responses because of fear. We've seen it. How many of you as a kid, you go like on the high board? How many of you ever died from a diving board? And maybe you're afraid of heights and stuff, and you're just like, you're like all set to do it. And then when it's your turn to do it, you're so afraid, right? Or how about rock climbing or your first hike? And we've all been there, right? But what happens? Can I get an amen about this? What happens when you actually do it? What happens when you maybe went bungee jumping and you were so scared to death, but you did it? You're like, that was the most exhilarating thing I've ever done. Or maybe skydiving, or even just booking a call. It could be that, or maybe maybe you publicly spoke, and that's so like people statistically would rather die than to publicly speak. But when they do it, they might love it, like I did. I mean, I was so scared. But whatever makes you like scared, that is God telling you, go for it. Because if it doesn't scare the heck out of you, you're probably not doing God's will. Does that make sense? So if you really want to be in God's will, if you really want to live a purpose-driven life, you're going to be scared. So in that will, in that vision that you have to have vision. Without vision, people perish. So creating that massive, incredible vision that you're creating for yourself, when you're at that point of clarity, and you're also now holding back and saying, well, now you're just screwing the whole thing up. Now you have a whole line of people waiting to dive that are super excited, or you're at the water park and you're like, oh my God, just go, bro. When you're a kid, right? Because I remember being so like, just hurry up. I want to go. I want to have fun. That's what you're doing. You're holding up your blessings. You're holding up the blessings that God has on your life, because you're just waiting for whatever. Oh, tomorrow will be a better day. No, actually, the more that you procrastinate, the more psychologically you're not going to do it the next day. Even more statistically, you're not going to do it. But the act of doing it is going to revive you or revitalize you. It's going to excite you. It's going to make you feel, what was I waiting for? So that's the beauty of it. And that's really the beauty of your journey that you're going to have. And I would say, Sarah, if you could hit on the consequences, because I think sometimes we don't think about, like, what if I don't do this? Poverty, welfare, I can't pay my mortgage. I'm always struggling financially. I mean, there's so many consequences that we have here if you want to hit on that.
Yeah, I actually want to share a little science first before I do that. So I nerd out a lot on the science of longevity. And just because, we're all moving towards a single target. And so I'm very much want my mind, my brain, my body to stay young. But I want to share a little bit of science with you guys about getting out of your comfort zone. So in the brain, when you do things that are out of your comfort zone, and you remove the excuse and do it, first, it does something to the neuroplasticity in your brain that actually helps your brain reorganize and form new neurons. It heals your brain and your neuro ability to make things happen. You are smarter and you can do things quicker. You're more flexible and you're more resilient. And it also helps the frontal cortex, your prefrontal cortex, when you take on things that are out of your comfort zone, like literally things you don't want to do, and you do them, you improve your problem-solving parts of your brain as well. And it's super important for cognitive function, which helps fight off Alzheimer's, dementia. It helps you have longevity. So you're actually, when you're doing things out of your comfort zone, you're healing your brain. You're literally like becoming a super version of yourself. And on top of that, it releases dopamine. So that's cool as well. So, I just want to share that because I kind of nerd out on this stuff, because when you do things that you don't want to do, it's actually really, really good for you. And when you don't do things, like when you don't take the action, on top of, you just living in your own stewing of not doing things, I mean, you're hurting your mind, you're hurting your future, and you are missing opportunities. I have never once gotten anything in my life that I didn't go take a risk and just take it and drive action. It's always been me doing something to get something I want. No one's ever handed me anything. And so the consequence is just a non-abundant life. Like if you want you only get one life to live. If you really want abundance, if you really want the things in your future, if you really want longevity, I mean, I want to be, and when I'm in my 70s, I want to look good, feel good, have great cognitive function, and I want to have a lot of money and I want to be chilling somewhere. So if I want that, the only way I'm going to get there is taking action today. And I know there's a lot of people out there that get to that part of their life and they are still having to do massive amounts of work. That's not going to be me. I don't even want to hustle in my 50s. You know, that's why I'm taking action every day, because I want to be able to live that life. And there's so many consequences to your inaction. And quite frankly, the more you do today, the more high volume, and we're going to talk about KPIs here in a second, kind of to bring it back to this specific opportunity. The higher volume, the more action you take, the quicker you will be successful. It is a numbers game. Call more people, book more calls, book more deals. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, and I'd say too, for the people that are in their 50s and 60s and 70s, and maybe this didn't happen for you, and you're like, oh man, I'm frustrated, I'm not in my 30s or 40s. Here's the cool thing, and I really want you to get this. So let's say, again, in real estate, Airbnb, if you were to invest, or if you were to become a health insurance agent, I mean, you would have to hustle, right? And it will take you a long amount of time. You can't, there's no such thing as investing in real estate and a year later, you're making $50,000 a month. If someone is selling you that, they're scamming you. It would take you a long time. So here's my whole point. There's this thing, and you might want to write this in your notes. For all the older people, it's called compressing timeframes. So with compressing timeframes, we've all heard think smarter, not harder, right? Don't work hard, you can think smart. No, that's not true. Here's the truth. You still work hard, but you work smart while you work hard. Because by you working smart while you work hard for, let's say, a year, that example that I gave, like 12 months from now, you get that 10,000, or you close a total of 10,000. Now you're making $50,000 a month for years to come. What you just did, what if you're 68 right now, 74? Well, by the time you're 75, you're making $50,000 a month now. So it would have taken you a couple of lifetimes of hard work in traditional corporate America, with 401ks and the stock market not crashing like 1929 or 2008, like having to go through all that and losing everything, and it's not even your fault, to working 1 year, and there you go, you're set for life now. So that's why this opportunity is so sacred. And that's why in the business sector, and that's why when people like text me sometimes, oh, Todd, I just don't have the time. And then I'm like asking, well, what do you do for a living? I work at McDonald's, or whatever. I work in a restaurant business. It's like, do you not get this? Do you not understand? You have to do whatever it takes, even if it's an hour a day, to compress time frames. If you still want that life a year from now, you're going to have that life a year from now. Nothing's going to change. It is going to get worse and worse through inflation, through taxes, through politicians, through legislation. They're not your friends. It's going to keep getting worse for the middle class or under. So this is your chance. If you're middle class or under now, let's go get you rich. Let's go change classes. Once you change classes, you don't dine with the masses. You dine with the classes. You dine with the richer, wealthier, the people that are getting tax breaks because of income brackets. It's a whole different world when you are making $50,000 a month or more. It really is. So let's go to the next slide. Hopefully you guys understand that. Get the bag. Yeah. All right. So Sarah, I'll kind of finish up if you want. This is the last slide. So
no, we have a slide on KPIs. So we'll just really quickly do this, but just honestly, we talked about this. I think it's just so important to habit stack. So commit to immediate action. Take one immediate action right away. We're going to talk about some specific KPIs that we use for you guys, and then we double down on with our VIP clients. But just get into a habit of just doing it daily and having that immediate action. And rather than thinking about doing it or overthinking, I've talked to a lot of people in this particular opportunity who were overthinking the action. It's just, sometimes you just got to do it. And of course you want to be strategic. We want to have high levels of business acumen, but if you're overthinking the talk track instead of picking up the phone, you're never going to get anywhere because you're just overthinking your talk track. So just habit stack, just do it. And we're going to just talk a little bit about our 5 KPIs that are really the foundation of this whole opportunity and program.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, if you guys can take a screenshot of that real quick, just kind of look at that. Let's just kind of look at that, stare at that real quick. And I'm going to explain it. So, and just make sure that we're clear, because clarity is, being kind. So 25 to 50 business outreaches or follow-up. So actually, can you go back, Sarah, to I just want to, because you had a slide. Yeah, so right here it says commit to taking one immediate action right after the training. This could be making a phone call, sending an email, or setting up a meeting, whatever they've been putting off. Okay, so if you go back to the KPIs, so you're looking at, so 25 to 50 outreaches is emails, texts, voice texts, calls. You're just literally reaching out. So it's not going to be 25 to 50 convos, because that would be crazy to ask of you. And it could be maybe one convo a day. Maybe it could just be one actual C-suite person that you're talking to, but you did 25 to 50 to get to that one conversation. Does that make sense? So, and you could do this, and I don't want to be graphic, but you can do it on the bathroom. You could do it at night. You could do it in the morning. You can do it anytime. Like, we live on our phones, right? So this is a money maker right here. And you could be using this Wi-Fi money. As long as you have Wi-Fi, you can make money, right? So again, there's really no excuse on your lunch breaks, doing that. Number two, spiritual and mental practice. This is just meditation. It could be reading your Bible. I love journaling. I love doing all three. I mean, I can't live without all three. It could be midday meditation for 5 minutes. So again, I use my phone and headset for meditation. It's Regina asked when you were talking about the science, Sarah. She said, "Is there a book on that?" And yes, there's plenty. But the one that I've read that changed my life was in 2015. The science that she's talking about is by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And this is what kind of made him famous. It's the book about breaking the habit of being yourself. And the reason I'm bringing it up too is because there's a whole science on meditation and how it opens up the portal to your subconscious mind, because your conscious mind is controlling your subconscious mind is controlling your conscious mind. But the conscious mind is actually just telling you what you can and cannot do. So the only way to get access to your subconscious mind is through meditation. So you have to kind of look at it as like a railroad cave, like the train is going into the cave, that little black hole like you see on the movies and stuff, that is the portal, and the train is the meditation. So for you to access your actual method of thinking and how you think and how you, in all the 60 to 90,000 choices you have every day, that's the statistic. You have 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day statistically. And I don't know the exact how many choices, but we're probably making 2,000 plus choices a day. So that's scary if you're fight or flight all the time. If I'm fight or flight, I'm making bad choices. I'm not showing up my best for my family, my children, my clients, and I know it and I can feel it. But even if I got to take a break and go meditate in the middle of my day, I'm going to do that. So this is every day, 10 to 20 affiliate outreaches. We have a webinar every Wednesday. So you can literally create your week where like Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday, you can just invite in the webinar. Invite into the webinar. It's not a replay. Hey, get on live. If not, you have to wait till next week. And then once they're on live, boom, they're having a whole performance from us of what this opportunity is. I mean, that's just one example. But if you do that 10 times, Monday through Friday, that's super easy too. You can just inbox them. You can DM people on social media. You can post. You can do stories. I did a story yesterday. It got like thousands of views. Like, your stories could get thousands of views. You don't have to have a huge account either. We talked about social media last week. Read 10 pages of a monthly book. I mean, you haven't read You Versus You, a kind of a shout out, but I'm not trying to sell myself here, but I really think my book is pretty good. So like, get You Versus You for $15 on Amazon, and really enjoy it for the next 30 days. Fight the battles within yourself, the 6 inches between your ears. If you've already read it, maybe, what is your next book? It's still kind of beginning of August. So pick a book that really resonates with you, that you could be a spiritual book. It could be anything. And then number 5, plug into the trainings and what we're doing in coaching. So these are the 5 things. And I'll say a few things. And Sarah, of course, you can wrap it up here. But if someone is just like, inaction, I don't know, blah, 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 they're giving me excuses. So this is where the excuses come. The reason that someone's giving me excuses is because they don't even know what this is. So just imagine, on our phones, if I'm in LA right now, I'm in Santa Barbara, let's say Santa Monica or Malibu. I'm walking out of my place and I get into my car, and my goal is to go from Malibu to Maine. Okay. So think about that visually. So Malibu to Maine. It's like right there. Well, Malibu's here, probably Maine's over here, right? If you look at the nation. But let's say I'm not going to take my phone. I'm just going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to let go and let God. I'm just going to drive, let go and let God. And that's going to be an interesting drive. Would you guys agree? Now, I'm not saying one day you won't be in Maine, but my goodness, if you just had this, let's say it's an antenna. So all you got to do is MapQuest or whatever. Oh, LA, Malibu to Maine. And then the little lady is going to tell you exactly, take a right, take a left. This is your MapQuest. This is how you're going to get from LA to Maine, which that means is how you're going to go from broke to rich, how you're going to go from struggling to wealthy, or hating your life because you make good money, but you don't have a lot of time, to having all the time in the world. That's your MapQuest. This is your antenna to attract massive success. And notice that it's not just business. We want you to focus on pies: physical, intellect, emotional, and spiritual. And spiritual is not just God or Jesus or anything like that. Spiritual is just being with nature, going to the sauna, relaxing, meditating, having a walk, getting sun, looking at nature, taking your shoes off and planting your feet into grass, having a picnic. That's spiritual. Emotional intelligence, that's where the reading the books come in. Meditating, intellect, learning more through this. And then your physical, getting healthier, working out. So this is where the KPIs, this is what's going to land you whatever dream life. But just remember, it's not every month. You're not doing this once a month. You're doing this at least Monday through Friday. And some of them, like 10 pages, you could read that on Saturday and Sunday. You're doing the simple disciplines, and this is what it is. So if you're doing this and you're committed to this, there's no room for excuses because you're excited. You have the map. You're on a road trip, baby. Yeah, this is awesome. You're not going to go on a road trip and be like, oh, I don't know. I don't feel like driving anymore. I'm just going to sit here in the middle of nowhere. You would freak out. You would not want to go, I'm going to sit here with all the truckers. No, I want to get away from all the truckers. It's weird. Like all the truck stops. I'm like, oh my God, get me out of here. I want to get out of here. It's just weird and dark. And I just want to get there, but I enjoy the drive. I want to listen to my music and my podcast and just enjoy the drive. So I'm not going to make excuses why I can't drive to Maine. Does that make sense to everybody? So Sarah, any comments on this?
Yeah, I will just say that, like, to your point about this being the map, the other thing is this just becomes really easy when you wake up and you know exactly what you need to do. So just the 25 to business outreaches every day. I mean, if you have just a simple plan of what that looks like every day, like I have a list of, let's say I'm adding 10 new leads to my list. I've got 30 people I need to follow up with. I have a little script of what I'm going to say. I'm going to call 10 people with a little script I'm going to say, and I'm going to do my social media posts. And you kind of plan that out ahead of time. This kind of becomes really simple. It's just, like we're taking the thinking out of it. We have scripts for you. Obviously, you can, change them for your personality and have, do what you want with them. But really, this should become very easy every day to kind of rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. It will compound. It will get easier. It will get shorter. And then once you're in the groove, like this should just be like, this shouldn't take a ton of time, right? It is just get in, get out, do it really well. And so I want to just, speak that over you, because once you're doing these every day and you can talk to some of the people who are doing the KPIs every day, that they're getting in a flow, right? Like they've got their LinkedIn posts down, they know who they're reaching out to, they've niched into a specific industry and they're talking to specific people every day, and it just becomes really easy. So this shouldn't look intimidating. This should actually look like, wow, I have a plan, a really easy plan to just wake up and go do it.
Awesome. And we're going to end the call because it's almost top of the hour. Well, let's have a call to action, Sarah. So I challenge all of you. The call to action after today is I'm going to ask you to do two things, okay? When it comes to production, I believe every single person on this call, including myself, can book one appointment with a business owner. One, okay, just one this week. And then the second thing is you can bring on one quality affiliate. Now, we've been actually blessed in the past couple of weeks to bring on some higher class affiliates. And Giovanni, here's the thing that's happening. So guess what? Here's a new rule. No one can become official until they go through Giovanni now. You guys get that? So Giovanni, after I prep the person and you do, he's got to call the person, and they have to book a call in order for them to move forward with T Group, which I think is great because it just saves us a lot of time. So you can get one affiliate in and you can do one booked appointment. Now, anyone that does that can have a special call with me and Sarah. We'll coach you, we'll train you privately. It doesn't matter if you're in base or not in base. We'll do that for you for free. We want to add value. I'll also can bring on a bunch of other cool stuff on that, other people that you haven't met yet that are my business partners. Like we'll do whatever it takes for the people that do what they say they're going to do and produce, because production is king. Don't ever think that it's not. You can read all the books you want, but if you don't actually produce, or you can read all the health and wellness stuff you want, but you can still be obese and still be out of shape. You got to get to that gym. You got to sweat. You got to do those pull-ups and chin-ups and push-ups and cardio. That's performance in this business. So anyone that can do that, we got you. So it's between Monday through Friday of this week. Book one appointment with the T Group and one affiliate, and we got your back. We're going to praise you. We're going to recognize you. We're going to make a big deal out of it. I'm going to post you on my Instagram story. I'm going to say how freaking badass you are. I'm going to get followers for you. We're going to do so much for you because we want to encourage the right behavior. But that doesn't mean you got to go make 10 grand a month this week. That doesn't mean that's crazy. It's just one appointment. It could be 20 employees. It doesn't matter if you do 20 employees all the way to 1,000 or 10,000 employees. It's all amazing. It's all amazing. And that's our call to action. And me and Sarah will personally mentor you and have a call with you and answer any questions you have and help you and all that good stuff. So anything you want to say to that, Sarah, and you can kind of end it?
No, I'm so excited for all of you. I know I haven't met all of you, but for those of you who haven't met me, I look forward to getting to know you further. And I hope this was helpful. And we'd love to hear your biggest takeaway in the chat. And we hope you have a great night.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks so much for being on.